Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady. In this video, I'm going to be giving my preview for the Ladies Gaelic Football quarterfinals, which will be happening this weekend. The first one is that I'm going to be previewing is Dublin versus Donegal, then Meath versus Galway, Armagh versus Kerry, Cork versus Mayo, and then I will also be quickly previewing the second relegation playoff between Monaghan and Waterford. Before I get into all that, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. It really helps us out here on the channel. And yep, let's get into the previews. So the first one, as I mentioned, is Dublin versus Donegal. Dublin, of course, were champions and absolute queens of the game. They were running it for years, and Meath knocked them off their perch last season. If you did it, Niamh Heatherton did an interview there recently where she talked about how Dublin are so determined to atone for last year's defeat, and they did win the Leinster Championship this year. Dublin, they've been looking good. Nicole Owens has been really sharp this year. Jennifer Dunn has been really exceptional at midfield. Kate Sullivan, Hannah Tyrrell, Carla Rowe, Lindsay Davey, and Sinead Ahern are still there as well. They've all been brilliant so far this season. Dublin beat Cavan in the first game by 5-14 to 2-4. They then went away to Tipperary and won by 1 goal and 11 points to 6 points, with Nicole Owens getting that goal. Then they beat Mayo by 2-14 to 1-7. They're all very impressive results. Cavan, of course, ended up in the relegation playoff, which they won against Westmeath by 113 to 19. But Tipperary and Mayo, they're good victories. And, Dublin have looked really sharp. Donegal, on the flip side, they, of course, beat Waterford by 10 points to 1-5, but then they lost to Cork by 212 to 110. And when Cork also went and beat Waterford, that meant that Donegal were safe and into the quarterfinals. The key players for Donegal, Yvonne Bonner, is definitely one that I like. She's powerful. She definitely runs in a similar way to Vicky Wall. She's powerful. She can break through a lot of tackles. She can kick the ball over from a huge distance out. The McLaughlins as well, Geraldine, Niamh, and Nicole are crucial to Donegal. Nicole at centre-back, Niamh at midfield, and Geraldine is their scorer-in-chief and their free taker. Karen Guthrie as well as a forward that definitely has a lot of talent there for Donegal and can cause Dublin some problems. And a game that I'd like to flick back to is a game that actually happened during the pandemic between Dublin and Donegal. Maxi Kearns, Donegal were right there with Dublin for the majority of the game. And then Sinead Ahern hit a shot for a point, and it hit the post, bounced in the goal, and the pitch was so bad that it hit the bottom of the hit like the divot in the goal and bounced back into the back of the net. And Dublin had got a goal in probably the most bizarre way I've ever seen. And from then, they kicked on and won the game, and Donegal lost the momentum that they had. But up until that point, they were right with Dublin. They were right there with them. And they were showing up potential weaknesses in that Dublin team. And that was a Dublin team that did go on to win the All-Ireland that year. So Donegal have shown that they've been able to compete with a Dublin side that you could argue maybe is better than the one now. The likes of Sinead Ahern and Lindsay Davey are, coming to the twilight of their career. The likes of Kate Sullivan, Caoimhe O'Connor are starting to burst through, Niamh Heatherton, and starting to claim, more responsibility in this team. Prediction, I'm going to go with Dublin, though. I think it really is Dublin and Meath again who can win this. I would say Cork and Armagh there. I like both of them teams. I think they're both underdogs, though, when they come up against Dublin and Meath. But I think, one of Dublin and Meath is going to win the All-Ireland this year, I would say. So I'm going to go with Dublin to win this game, which brings me swiftly on to the Meath versus Galway game. So Meath started off their championship as All-Ireland champions with an emphatic victory. They went away to Monaghan and won by 1-13 to 1 point. And by the way, that 1 point from Monaghan came from a free. Meath did not concede a point from play. That is bizarre. And then in the second game, they went away to Armagh, who had monstered Monaghan in the Ulster Championship. Poor Monaghan. But Armagh had won the Ulster Championship. So Meath were definitely, this is going to be a tough place to go. And they got a draw. They drew 9 points each. That's not a bad result. Armagh have the Mackins there. They have Kelly Mallon, who was Footballer of the Month. So, that's a good result to get. They'd be happy they didn't lose. But definitely Eamon Murray, look, he is a winner, and he's transformed Meath's Ladies Gaelic football. And he would be maybe not disappointed, but he definitely would have wanted the victory there. So far this year, it's clear Stacey Grimes' frees have been fantastic. Stacey Grimes has just improved her frees so much so that if you fell, it's a point. Stacey Grimes will nail it. She hit 8 of them in the first game against Monaghan. I mean, Monaghan were just made to pay time and time again for ill discipline. Vicky Wall, that aspect, of course, her going down to Australia, how much of her focus, while she is still playing for Meath, is her focus being taken away from Meath? Her performances have been good, but as it gets to the latter stages, I mean, it's that 1%, it's that 2% that just can make the difference. Galway, on the flip side, they have been a bit hit or miss so far. I expected them to beat Kerry, but they didn't. They lost that game by 3-10 to 3-8, and that was at home. But then they beat Westmeath by 118 to 4 points to make up for it. Siobhan Dively got that goal against Westmeath. Olivia Dively and Tracy Leonard as well are crucial to this Galway side. And going in against Meath, they're going to need all three of them, especially to fire. I'm going to go with Meath, though. I just think Meath, All-Ireland champions, the prospect of facing Dublin as well in the semi-final, I think they are the two best teams. And yeah, I'm going to go with Meath to win this one, which brings me on to Armagh Kerry. Definitely a tough one to call because Kerry have performed fantastically so far, beating Galway, as I mentioned, by 3-10 to 3-8, and that was away from home. And then they smashed Westmeath by 217 to 9 points. Louise Nimura-Hertig is the key woman for this Kerry side. She hit 8 points against Galway. On top of that, Paris McCarthy, Niamh Carmody hit goals in that game as well. So absolutely, Kerry, massively important that those players shine in this game. I am going to go with Armagh, though. Armagh have shown such incredible scoring ability. They drew with Meath by 9 points each, and then they beat Monaghan by 212 to 4 points. Amy Mackin is so sharp for Armagh. On top of that, Blaheen Mackin is fantastic. And Kelly Mallon, of course, as I mentioned, was Footballer of the Month. So she is crucial to this Armagh side. The Mackins as well are crucial. And I'm going to say that if they shine, Armagh win this game. So that's what I'm going with there. Cork and Mayo as well in the last quarter final. Cork have won by 212 to 110 against Donegal. Then in the other game, they beat Waterford by 210 to 1-5. Doireann O'Sullivan has been the scorer in chief for Cork. She struck 1-5 against Donegal and 1-7 against Waterford. Orla Finn as well struck well against Donegal, but was held against Waterford to no scores. Ciara O'Sullivan has been massive for Cork as well at centre forward. She hit 2 points against Donegal. Absolutely fantastic to see her back to top form. Mayo on the flip side, Tara Needham has been massive for them. Sinead Walsh, Sinead Cafferty and Shauna Howley are the key players there for Mayo. Their results, 116 to 1-6, they beat Tipperary by. Then they came awfully close to getting beaten by Cavan, as Cavan struck 2 late goals to pull them right back to only a 1 point lead. But then Mayo hung on and got out of Cavan with the victory. Then, however, their luck ran out. They played against Dublin and they lost that game quite convincingly by 214 to 1-7. In this game, as I mentioned, I think Cork and Armagh are next up to Dublin and Meath for the throne. I think Dublin and Meath are the two best. Armagh and Cork then would be my next picks to win the All-Ireland. So I'm going to go with Cork to win this game. Doireann O'Sullivan has been absolutely magnificent. I mean, she's already hit 212 in 2 games. It's very, very impressive. And I'm just going to go with her to continue her form. But Cork were pretty poor at the start of that Waterford game. They were 1-5 to 1-1 down against the Waterford side that are now in the relegation playoff. If they do that against Mayo, make no mistake, Mayo won't let them back into the game the way Waterford did. So Cork need to definitely start better this time. Get Doireann O'Sullivan, Orla Finn, Ciara O'Sullivan into the game quicker than they did last time. And yeah, hopefully that does them well. So I'm going to go with Dublin to beat Donegal, Meath to beat Galway, Armagh to beat Kerry, Cork to beat Mayo. And then that takes me on to the second relegation playoff, which is, of course, Monaghan against Waterford. So the first game there, of course, Monaghan, as I mentioned, lost to Meath by 113 to 1 point. Armagh then beat Monaghan as well by 212 to 4 points. So Monaghan have had a rough one, and they also lost that Ulster final. They were monstered out of it by Armagh. Then on the flip side, Waterford, of course, they put 2-1-5 in their 2 games. They lost to Donegal by 10 points to 1-5, and then Cork by 210 to 1-5. So coming into this game, both sides have been pretty poor up front in terms of what they've put up in there. Monaghan have only hit 5 points in 2 games combined, Waterford have hit 1-5 in both of their games as well. I am just going to go with Waterford, though. They've shown me a little bit more. I mean, the likes of Katie McGrath as well. She's shown a bit of ability about her. The Daisha have just shown a little bit better. Lauren McGregor as well is another forward. She hit a lovely goal against Cork. They've just shown a little bit more scoring ability. Monaghan haven't really threatened any goals, and Waterford on the flip side have. They've scored in both of their games. They've scored goals. So I'm going to go with Waterford to win and then ensure their survival in the championship for another season. That's my preview of the quarterfinals and the second relegation playoff here on Play on GAA. I hope you enjoyed. Until the next one, guys, take care.